Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the podcast. I'm Chris, and I am joined by DEG and Kyle.
You're terrible. 8-Brit,
Yeah.
really? Come on.
No one watches that show.
No one watches 8-Brit. 8-Brit's awful.
Yeah.
Go check out 8-Brit, everybody.
Anyway, today, if you have noticed, it is October, and we all know what happens in October. And we figured we'd talk about Halloween. Well, not Halloween, but like horror games and spooky things in games and things. So this is basically the podcast. So
what was that?
Don't worry. Anyway, I figured I'd start off by talking about basically like the beginnings of horror games. So, like most people think to Resident Evil 1, and it kind of was the birth of the genre. But, upon research, I found out that Sweet Home, which was also a Capcom game, released in 19-something... I don't know, I'm trying to guess the year.
Good 1910.
It's
1989, Chris.
Oh, okay, you can use Wikipedia.
Yes, I can use Wikipedia.
Anyway, it was called Sweet Home, it was released on the NES, and basically... It was basically the start of the genre, basically, because it had a lot of spooky elements to it, like freaky enemy designs, or just like trying to solve puzzles, and there's like pressure on you, and you actually find that there's a lot of elements shared between Resident Evil 1 and Sweet Home, even the creepy door loading things, actually. So yeah. Sweet Home's pretty much the beginning of horror games as we know them, but I figured we would start off by talking about Resident Evil first.
Yeah, the problem is no one's ever played Sweet Home, but everyone plays Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
I haven't actually got that much experience with Resident Evil. I started playing Resident Evil 4 the other day. Stay tuned for 5 hours in.
Nice, good advertising.
But I believe Kyle is the Resident Evil expert.
Yeah, I guess you could say expert. As for the whole franchise,
I mean, I've watched
he's our Resident Evil expert.
I'm your Resident Evil resident. Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching my brother play Resident Evil when I was a kid, and I had like a lot of vague memories about it, and I decided to play it for myself. And yeah, I love the game. It's got some scary moments in it. It's actually one of the scariest Resident Evil games to me. And I think...
So you're talking about the original, right?
Like yeah, the PS1 version.
Because I'd say it's a bit outdated now, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, well,
but for the time...
I mean, the gameplay is like really outdated and like sort of the graphics and stuff, but
at the time, it definitely was impactful. And
absolutely.
Well, and as far as survival horror, I mean, it definitely created the genre, and a lot of the things that it has with the clunky controls and the outdatedness kind of add to that feeling of helplessness.
Exactly.
In Resident Evil. Anyway, like part of the terror is like, gee, I really hope that pushing the stick this way runs me away from that zombie.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. And there's just like this certain cheesiness with the whole atmosphere that makes it a little creepier.
Pardon me.
You almost turned into a Jill sandwich.
Yeah.
She's the master of unlocking.
It's just that like that just like
it
strange,
captures that like 90s horror film kind of like quirky yet still terrifying kind of atmosphere.
And then 2 minutes later you're running from like a giant spider, like something that's actually terrifying.
Zombie sharks.
Or them dogs that jump through the window.
Jump scare.
Yeah, the dogs that jump through the window, that was one of the memories I had of it. And also when you try to go back through the front door and the dog dogs. There's a cutscene of a dog like trying to jump in. And that moment, I remember as a kid, I felt like so enclosed and just like, you have nowhere to run. So that really scared me because I just wanted my brother to just get out of the mansion, but you couldn't. So
Jesus, take the wheel, brother, take the
so
controller.
helpless. Yeah.
I used to watch my brother play the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube actually, but I wasn't very good at watching.
See, the problem is I've always been the brother that other people have watched play.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm the youngest, so I watch my brothers play. So
yeah, I'm the
So
oldest.
do we want to brush over well, not brush over, but like just talk about the other Resident Evils, 2, 3, Code Veronica, and 4,
let's all just talk about the elephant in the room, because obviously Resident Evil 4 is the best one.
Is it now?
I would yeah, I would agree.
Polarizing statement, go. Yeah. Oh, he agrees.
Well,
No, but it's so good. The atmosphere is spot on. The controls are actually enjoyable, but still restrictive enough to give you that feeling of like, oh, I hope I do this right.
yeah.
Like it's fun.
And
Like the first Resident Evil is, it's scary. It's a little challenging. The fun level is kind of lacking in certain things. Like, let me just collect this gem here to walk over to this statue to turn it in this direction. It's like, this isn't really a puzzle, it's a fetch quest.
yeah, and
Yeah.
And then Resident Evil 4, it's fetchy, but it's fetchy in a way that you're always moving forward, always facing some sort of enemy or zombie. Like, the actual combat is, like, challenging but fun as opposed to just clunky.
I feel like every part of
I mean, I've only played 2.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
Okay.
Ahead, Carl.
I feel like every part of Resident Evil 4 like just is very memorable. There's no like slow parts to the game. Maybe during the island it gets like a little dragged on, but that's also the part when you have the regenerator. I mean,
I was gonna say the regenerators.
I don't want to spoil it for Chris.
Save any bad thing. No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've only played 2 hours of it so far. I've got to the cutscene.
Not to spoil it, because all we're gonna say is that there's an enemy called a regenerator, and they are by far the most terrifying thing.
Probably
Well, I look forward to that.
probably the scariest enemy in Resident Evil, except maybe the hunters in Resident Evil 1. Those scare me so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
especially in the remake.
Was it Resident Evil 2 or 3 Nemesis? Am I using the right word there, Nemesis?
Nemesis was 2.
No, that was 3.
And he was the like, one thing I love about horror games is when they have, or any game when they have an enemy constantly be on your tail, like, and hunt you down. I mean, that's friggin' scary when there's someone hunting you down.
So you're going to segue into Outlast then?
No,
I was gonna say segue into Metroid Fusion.
Ooh.
Well, I was gonna segue into like common elements that in
Metroid
horror
Prime
games.
2?
Yeah.
I haven't played Prime 2, sorry.
Resident Evil 3 is the only Resident Evil I've not played actually, so I can't really talk much about Nemesis. I've
I mean, I've only played
even a game like the Slender 8 pages, same implacable, like the key
you're
to a good
helpless.
the key to a good horror game is essentially making you feel helpless.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was going to start like things that are common in horror games, and I would say that's a common one. So.
Helplessness is definitely a key, because if you feel like you can fight back, it's not really all that scary. Like fear, like the what is it? First Encounter Assault Recon series.
Yeah, that game was not
it's
that
sold
scary.
as sort of a horror game, but you got a lot of guns.
Yeah.
You're constantly pew pew shoot.
And that's
not as scary.
definitely where
Like,
Resident Evil 5 and 6 definitely failed.
Yes, I was about to say 5 and 6, way more action games than horror games. Honestly.
And I absolutely love the gameplay of Resident Evil 5. I think the gameplay is like so incredibly fun, but yeah, it's just missing that Resident Evil horror that was still in 4. Like 4 still had that horror aspect, and
well, it's so easy to just get swarmed or swamped or, I don't know, chainsawed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
like any given moment you could die, even if you were at full health.
yeah, and I feel like 4 had more like of a tank control to it than 5 did. It's like mostly the same. 4 just felt very tank-like when it came to controls.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I've only played 2 hours of Resident Evil 4, which is what I've been trying to say that since like for 5 minutes now. But like, I'm not really getting the scariness of it so far. Like, I mean, I think Carl told me the other day it gets better, so that's good.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll go
it
into a cabin.
It definitely builds on itself.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll go into a cabin and an enemy will walk out and I'll be like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
Or, yeah.
even like the normal villagers, they get scarier because they kind of evolve.
Things happen.
I'll just say that.
Okay.
You'll
Honestly, I'm just kind of really looking forward to once he does get to the scaries, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his 5-hour in. Definitely gonna have to watch that when you come up with it, Chris.
one of my favorite parts is in the castle when you go into like the basement at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
Yep. And there's the one enemy down there.
I know what you're talking about.
It's a great scene.
I always really liked, and I'm sorry to mildly spoil this for you, Chris, but I always really loved the one defense in the house when they're all coming up the hill and you have to survive the entire swarm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was one of my favorite scenes in the entire, or sequences in the entire game.
That's actually a pretty difficult part too. It's pretty tough.
Which is part of what's fun about it, because it always feels like it's beatable, just hard.
Yeah. Definitely agree.
All right, I think we've played out Resident Evil.
Yeah, I
So
was just
far.
gonna say new segment time. So should we talk about any other things that make for good horror games? Like
Definitely
I don't know.
the helplessness. Like, I love an implacable enemy. Like for instance, segueing into
That is a word I do not hear often.
implacable.
Yeah.
Oh, like Terminator-esque.
Okay.
Implacable, like it's unstoppable, just constantly. And the slower slower it moves, the more terrifying it is, in my opinion.
This isn't a horror game, and we'll get onto more horror game. I mean, we'll get onto more games that are not horror games but have horror things in them later. But did anyone play Prince of Persia: Warrior Within?
I did not.
I've played the
Kyle?
first remake for GameCube, but not the second one.
So he did not
okay,
either.
so you have not played Warrior.
I played the Sands of Time.
Well, anyway, there's an enemy in Warrior Within, and he's a massive black demon thing, and he slowly walks towards you, and he's trying to because you're trying to defy your fate in the game, and he's like fate personified or something, and he's trying to capture you, and it's scary, and like scary rock music plays, and he's got glowy eyes, and it's like, oh god, leave me alone, and you have to hardcore parkour your way through to escape, and so scary.
I love excellent theming like that. Like, this is fate coming for you, and you can't stop. Like, great framing. I lost my train of thought.
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah, like when there's theming like that, and it all fits together, and it like talks to a deeper part of the human experience. Like, I love more of a psychological horror type of thing than a straight up like, boo, Dead Space.
Yeah, I like tension and like build up and
yeah, like I was saying, the Amnesia Dark Descent with whatever that thing is that's hunting you, that like for the first half of the game there actually isn't anything actually after you.
Yeah, I read about that, and it's just
but
like
it's
your mind can get to you.
still terrifying. I played 10 minutes of that game and was like, nope, I gotta go read the Bible now. Or like with Slender, you can't stop the Slender Man. You just have to keep moving and hope you find all the pages.
yeah.
Yeah, basically. So you say I'm psychological, like when I say when someone says psychological horror, the first game that always comes to my mind is Eternal Darkness for the GameCube.
Yes, another perfect example. Or like,
did you play that one yourself?
I own it, but I have not played it yet.
Okay, I've watched videos on it.
I had been wanting to play it, but I didn't get it, and then I got it for like $5 at GameStop at one point.
Oh wow, that's quite a bargain.
It was awesome. I was like, no way, this is going in my collection, and it's just been sitting at home.
Yeah, I'd buy that too. Good deal.
I have Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, which is another one of those, because obviously it's Lovecraft themed, where there are these enemies coming after you, and you don't even have a weapon; you just have to run, type of games.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay then. Any other things that make for good horror games?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, atmosphere, basically, to me.
atmosphere, psychological theming, jump scares can be used, but they don't make for like lasting horror games. Like,
I
for
think
instance,
the tension of like the anticipation of a jump scare is worse. The main thing.
well, yeah, like I mean, look at the Five Nights at Freddy's series, which is
Yeah.
like 6 like shovelware games essentially that are huge, built entirely around jump scares and the anticipation of a coming jump scare. I mean, that's
Yeah,
great.
basically.
That's great and all,
Yeah,
but it's not gonna. It's not really a lasting thing.
those games don't really.
I mean, I think the okay.
They don't really scare me.
You go ahead.
Yeah, they
Carl.
don't really scare me that much, but I mean, I can see why some people would be attracted to that kind of stuff. It just, I don't know. It doesn't really connect with me
Yeah.
that much.
I mean, I think personally, I haven't played a game because I'm too much of a wimp. But I've seen videos and things, and even then, I have to like pause a video every now and then just so I don't get frightened or something.
Yeah,
But
I
I
mean-
think the game does it well because you have to manage a couple of things, and like you don't want your power running out, or
Well, it,
and then you know.
a game like that in a jump scare like Dead Space and Five Nights and whatnot, that's speaking more to your like primal instincts of like fight or flight. Boom! There's
Yeah.
something here. Adrenaline, go! And that's not a lasting scare because once the adrenaline falls down, you're like, "Ooh, okay, I'm good." But then you get something, and
well,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm a huge Lovecraft fan because I love that psychological horror, that kind of horror that you just lay awake at night pondering. Like
Yeah.
that's lasting horror.
Yeah,
Those are the good games that like speak to the human condition of like one day you will die and nothing you do matters. You are a speck of dust in all of the existence of the universe. That kind
Whoa.
of stuff stays
Oh
with
goddamn!
you. That kind of stuff stays with you.
You hear that, listeners? Like, you know, you don't even matter.
You matter. You matter to us. You matter to
Oh yeah,
us,
you matter to
listeners.
us. Please
Yeah.
listen, please.
my favorite gaming moment or scary moment, it just has all those like pieces put together. Like it's not just like a jump scare. It's just like everything that makes something scary, all in one. And I'm sure we'll talk
Giant
about that later.
amalgamation
But
of awful.
um,
Hey, we
I'm sorry, I just
mentioned,
thought of another one.
Oh, okay.
The implacable alien isolation, the implacable enemy that all you can really do is run from and stave off, and you can't beat it. Perfect example. Alien isolation is. I am terrified to play that game because it's one of those. It has the atmosphere. It has that whole you don't really matter feeling. It has that implacable enemy that's always coming after you that you can't do anything about. Like, I love the idea of that game, but I don't
Yeah.
want to spend full price on it because I know I'll never actually play it.
is that game just one alien or is it multiple?
I believe it's just the one,
Okay, that's
right.
awesome.
but I'm not really sure. I haven't played it,
Okay.
but I would assume it's just the one, and like it's hunting you throughout the ship and everything, and like
That's what makes the first Alien movie my favorite, is that it's just the one alien, and it's just like, I don't know, you
what are
like
you gonna do?
you connect. It sounds weird, but you connect to like the alien more because it's just that one. So like it has like the same,
That
killing
makes sense.
tactics.
The same being.
Yeah. So
Yeah, well, and especially when you figure like it's just this one alien is taking all of them out. Like
yeah,
it's just one. Whereas like in Aliens, like they do manage to kill a couple of the aliens. It's like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took some of them out.
plenty of the aliens.
Whereas this is like literally everything that you have done has amounted to nothing against this thing.
Yeah.
I do think horror is better built up sometimes when there's less like people sort of thing.
There's a trope that is nothing is scarier, which is the idea that not knowing what it is, not seeing it, there being
Yeah.
literally nothing there, is actually more terrifying than the cathartic release of like, okay, that's what the monster is. Okay, now I know. As opposed
'cause
to
your imagination
you're building
can
it
be
up, your
scarier.
imagination is going, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's coming for me. I think I see it over there. Is that it? No, maybe.
Yeah. That's really good.
One
And the original Alien movie built that up perfectly because like the alien is actually in almost every single scene of that movie, just hidden in like the backgrounds and the ductworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like James is genius.
One more thing that makes something scary is music or the lack of music.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which I think again plays into that atmosphere that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Which
I really, really love the music in Metroid Fusion because it's so goddamn
very
spooky.
creepy in that game. Yeah, I would agree on that.
that's honestly my favorite Metroid game is Fusion.
That's my favorite Metroid game.
Internet high five.
I have to represent
Yeah.
Prime on this one. Where's Shay when I need him?
Well, Prime isn't scary, so we can't talk about it.
Well, I mean,
There are some parts I would allow.
Yeah, I mean, the Space Pirates, like, no, wait, what am I thinking?
Phase on Mines
What parts
was
are
pretty
scary
scary. Also,
Well, there's
the Fendrana
there's the
Drifts
whole,
lab was a pretty scary part because
Yeah, that's it.
it was pitch black.
The
and,
lab.
There's Metroids chasing.
where everything's dead and or dying, and you're just like, crap, what happened?
Great
here?
part. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And
But
then and then something like in 2 and 3 for Prime, where you're being hunted by Dark Samus the whole time.
Yeah, I think Fusion does the whole being hunted by someone thing better though, because like the SAX has your powers and you have not many, and like it just appears like randomly sometimes.
Yeah, the way that it shows it sometimes, and you just
and then like them footsteps and
Yeah, and there's something about like a
I
2D
love that game.
platformer too that like it.
Yeah.
It's like a different angle because usually if something's chasing you, it's in like a 3D adventure game or something like that. But like, you're not used to seeing that in a 2D platformer. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, like when you first see the SAX, like it blasts a wall open and slowly walks and then looks at the camera with his pupilless eyes, and it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
And like the first time
and
it
I
chases
think-
you, you're just like, crap.
Yeah, you have to run. And I think the robot and the music, well, not the robot, the AI helper thing, which is Adam, sort of.
Adam, sort of. I mean, that's the
Like-
name of it.
Yeah, but even though it's like an artificial attendance and it talks thematically, it still builds up the horror well, because at one point it says, if you see the SAX, do not even think about fighting it, run.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, even the robot thinks that I should probably scarper out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I love Fusion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm going to try and make a segue here. I think Fusion has a really good story, and I think another thing that makes horror games good, it's not essential, but I think a good story makes you want to keep on playing on and find out the mystique or something. And like it's like you have to force yourself to be scared to find out the story, and it could just make it so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know exactly, because if it's just scares after scares, you're like, whatever. But if there's like a mystery or something that you're like, why is this happening? And I think that's part of the scare, because you're terrified, and being humans who seek order out of chaos, we go, okay, why? Why is this here? What is happening? I need an explanation, or this will just continue to bother me, which I think can lead to another level of horror in which these things happen, and then by the end of it, you want to know, you keep playing, there's such a great story, and then it just never tells you what's going on. So it just sits in the back of your head and scratches away at your thoughts every once in a while.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring up Dead Space. Like, it doesn't have the greatest story, but I still want to know why. Like, all the what do they call the enemies? The
Necromorphs.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I want to know why they exist and things. I'm not sure if I found out at the end of Dead Space 1, but I've only played 1, not 2. I only played that at some point. But like, I still want to play on with the game and try to like save my comrades and find out why the hell things are wrong and things like that.
Why? Just why?
Why?
I remember that was like one of the only EA games that I actually appreciated. Because
I love Dead Space.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually talk about one of my favorite, well, quote unquote favorite, but like in the game, there's these enemies that can like sort of teleport. They like jump up like through the ceiling, and then when you go somewhere else, they'll jump back down in front of you and be like, oh god. So one time, the first time you experienced them, I tried to shoot them. Like, I think they regenerate or something. Oh no, that might be a different enemy. But anyway, these enemies are massive, and you can barely deal with them. So I went to a save room, like, thinking I was safe, and he just friggin' jumps in out of nowhere, and I was so friggin' scared.
They got you, Chris.
Yeah.
They got you.
I had to, like, pause the game and everything. Like, I just couldn't deal with it.
Go change your pants.
Oh, so good. Any other favourite moments, guys?
We're talking about, like, full moments. Like, are we talking about, like, our favorite moments?
Yeah, just in general.
Like, favorite
Just in
scary
general.
moments or, like, scariest moments?
Anything
Okay,
moments in general.
I'll get this out of the way just because we should just get Resident Evil out of the way.
You've been building it up.
Okay, so
might
my
as well.
favorite. This is actually my favorite moment in gaming in general, but
Ooh.
the first zombie in Resident Evil 1 is like absolutely my favorite moment in gaming because it's so weird, and the lack of music, it like builds up to this moment, and just the fact that it's the first zombie in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And
You always remember your first.
and it's so 90s in the way that the zombie, like when the cutscene shows and like you approach the zombie eating your partner, it like makes this really loud chomp noise when he's eating the human. It's like the cheesiest chomp noise you could get, and then the zombie turns his face towards you, and like he's got this like ceramic, like clay skin that's just like pure white. He looks like a clown because he has blood on his mouth, and it's just so weird, but it's so great, and it scared me to death as a kid. And I remember, like, as a kid, if I was really scared of something, I would like look away or like leave the room or something. But that was the one where I just like had to keep watching. I was like, I didn't want to watch it, but I just like had to because it was.
You were so scared you're like frozen, and you just like kept.
Yeah,
looking.
and I was just.
You failed at fight or flight.
Yeah.
You became deer in the headlights. And then the truck that was the zombie ran you over.
And yeah, like.
Brilliant.
I wasn't really a huge gamer. I just like mostly watched games at that time, and I think that like really influenced me to actually play games because I just like wanted to see my brother progress, and just like
Definitely.
Well, as far as Resident Evil moments, if we're going back to Resident Evil again. But I'm sorry. What? No.
What?
Why?
So we had like our own scary moment. Carl's Audacity crashed, but he still has his file, I think, and yeah.
Yep.
So we were talking about Resident Evil 1 again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was saying one of my favorite moments because Kyle just did his whole spiel. You did get the whole spiel before it crashed, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Spiel.
Spiegel.
Spiegel.
Spiegel. I like I think it's Resident Evil 1 when you're in the basement labs and you're going through and you end up in one of the rooms and there's a journal, and it's a journal that this guy was writing as he was slowly zombifying with the T-virus, and it ends with that whole itchy, tasty, and it's terrifying. I don't remember the entirety of that, but it's just this great like glimpse into the mind of someone slowly becoming a zombie.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I always forget about
And then
those.
of course as soon as you finish reading the journal, you go to leave the room and a zombie jumps out of the closet at you.
Yep.
And
That's pretty awesome.
and of course that zombie that jumped out of the closet is the dude whose journal you were just reading. Yeah.
They have
Like
That's after you.
Okay,
Carl.
thank you, Chris. They like that's a thing that is in all the Resident Evil games. I feel like I know there's one in 2. Actually, I don't know about 3. There's one in Code Veronica where like there's a journal where someone's writing it and they're like, their language like slowly changes after like a few days, and
That's cool.
yeah,
Your brain starts zombie.
that's psychological. So
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, like, I think a common element in horror games is like these backstory journal bits of info you can read. Like Amnesia has them from your past self. Resident Evil, obviously. Dead Space has like audio logs and things you can read as well.
Yeah.
And it adds to the lore and things like that. And it's really cool, builds up mystique, and it's just great, really.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And even a game like BioShock, which I would not really categorize as a horror game, but it has a lot of those horror elements to it, like with the audio logs that the reveal Rapture's descent into madness,
yeah,
and like
Yeah.
that game's definitely more of a psychological thing going on throughout the whole thing.
it's in the beginning.
It's not as I would
Go ahead.
sorry. I was just I would say that it is a horror game, but it's not really a survival horror game.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
There's
makes
no-
sense.
There's no real threat of like inventory management and you're running low on defense. It's definitely more action oriented, but it has those horror elements with like the big daddies that hunt you
Yeah,
down.
you gotta hide from
the
those.
whole destroyed post-apocalyptia, etc., etc. It's got a lot of the common themes of horror. games.
Near the beginning of BioShock,
sure.
there's the part where this lady is like seeing Rockabye Baby to what you think is a
Oh.
baby in a stroller, and then after you kill her, of course, you come to the stroller and it's a gun, and I love
Yeah.
that part. I always forget how much I love BioShock, because the first game and BioShock Infinite are both amazing games, but like that one part
Completely
is just
different.
so like it's just so weird, because like it gets you to know like those characters instantly, like they've gone mad and like they're obsessed with like violence and just like
With the storytelling that they were able to put into the BioShock, just without actually having to do a whole lot of setup or anything. It's just immediately you know what's going on
Oh, yeah.
here, and it is just awful.
yeah, just that moment by itself like is so
Cool.
effective.
Yeah, it's just that beautiful like 2-minute horror, like that YouTube channel where they tell a horror movie in 2 minutes is like that, but in a video game format, where it's just here's this lady. In 2 minutes, you have a complete story being told about what happened there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's genius.
So I thought maybe we could try and move on to some other games we are interested in this horror thingy mabob. Anyone played a Silent Hill game?
I watched my buddy play Shattered Memories.
Yeah, I've watched an LP of that.
That's
that
the only
myself.
one I've played a little
It's
bit
kind of
of.
psychological-ish.
Yeah.
I guess we don't really have
was-
much to say on
I mean-
that, but it's definitely a big franchise.
Yeah, Shattered Memories, it was okay. It wasn't really very scary.
It wasn't super
There was
great.
one where like this guy comes out of a garage door when it opens, and I guess I was kind of scared of that. It was weird to play because I was playing it on the Wii, and I was playing with a Wiimote, and something about like wagging the Wiimote and like fighting off enemies, it makes it less scary because
I think it ironically breaks the immersion
yeah.
more than it helps it.
Yeah, possibly.
And the thing with Silent Hill again is that those are definitely psychological horror games.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I just remembered I watched an LP on Silent Hill 2, I believe, and there's this weird pyramid head guy.
Oh, Pyramid
And-
Head is
and there's
another
this
one of
one-
those classic implacable enemies that you can't stop and
Yeah.
you just have to
Yep.
run and hide from type of.
And I just remember this one scene, I think, and he basically like, I don't want to say the word because it's like, we're sort of a PG channel, but he sort of
He's doing unnatural copulation that is undesired.
he's like having intercourse that is not requited with this other zombie creature, and it's like, whoa, what?
Isn't it like a pair of legs or something? When you're hiding in a
or like one of the like zombie nurse things or something like that.
Actually, that's a good topic to talk about. Enemy like designs or area designs. Just like some of the things you see in some of these games. Some. Can I say some anymore? It's just so creepy.
Well, and especially like there are things in games, and this is a subject we're going to get to eventually, but I'm bringing it up now. So take that. I'm stealing your host privileges, Chris.
Yay!
There are things in games purely in their designs that are creepy and downright terrifying and totally aren't meant to be. Like, I just a couple days ago for the first time was finally playing Banjo-Kazooie, and I was like, okay, this game's kind of weird. These things are kind of creepy. And then I got to Clanker's Bay or whatever, the Clanker one, and swam up, and there's this like terrifying shark mouth death thing, and I'm just like,
that scared me a bit as a kid.
Nope. I'm 28, almost 29, and that terrified me. It's like, do I have to go out there? If I go slightly more forward, will it eat me in this awful cutscene? Like, what's happening right now?
I mean, the thing with that sort of era of games, some things can just look scary when they're not supposed to be. Like, I guess we're going to move on to the subject now. Things that are scary that aren't supposed to be. There was a lot of things in my childhood that scared me. Like the eel in Jolly Roger Bay from Super Mario 64. Like, Jesus, dude. Like, God.
That was the next one I was going to... That thing is...
Someone like pops his head out.
Like this calming music is playing.
And here's this death monster.
Andros from Star Fox used to scare me as a kid because he's like a massive monkey head which looks freaky. He even looked even freakier in Star Fox Adventures as well.
Are you saying there's something about Star Fox you didn't like, Chris?
Hey, I like Andros, but he just scared me as a kid. All right.
Really, you getting text messages?
Oh, I got a Snapchat. I'm popular.
I see. Okay.
Oh, how about like the entirety of Majora's Mask? You want to talk about psychological horror and sometimes just straight horror? That entire game. First of all, that's my absolute favorite Zelda game. And second of all, a lot of the themes and like the hidden meanings and like, I love it so much. It's so dark, and the story that it tells is just beautiful. And
like them final hours music is also frightening.
Or
well, not frightening, but like terror-inducing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
like that final moment in the last like 60 seconds whenever you go to get the wedding mask from Anju and Cafe.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're going to
save
die.
your marriage.
At least we're going to die together. And you're just like, oh my...
I'll save your marriage, please don't die.
Yeah. Or the eels in whenever you're rescuing the seahorses and getting the Zora eggs to go to Great Bay Temple, those eels out at whatever that island is called that I can't remember now. Those eels terrified me. I mean,
can't quite recall what you're talking about right now,
actually. Great Bay, Terminus Great Bay.
Yeah.
You follow the seahorse out into the waters.
Yeah.
And then you got to go down, and there's all these different holes in this hole.
Yeah, I remember.
And
there's something about being deep in the ocean that's quite scary.
That was going to be my next thing. Is like, I watched Jaws when I was too young to watch Jaws, and now I am irrationally terrified of water.
Interesting.
Like that's another thing that. I was playing Banjo-Kazooie, and I was doing the one Treasure Trove Cove, and I fell.
And the
in
shark,
and I fell
in,
and I fell in the water, and was like, I noped right out of there.
I think the music changes as well.
The music changes. There's this, like, honestly, the model for it is not super great, but it's a shark, so I'm like, immediately terrified.
Yeah. I mean, water can be terrifying, and in one game it can be terrifying in. I'm going to play it now. Oh my god, why is it so scary? Why is it so fast, Sonic? Why? It's like, why?
Gotta
Sonic,
get some air.
please. It's scary, intense.
Look for bubbles.
See, that makes it... No! Don't finish it. Oh. No.
And then, of course, a big bubble approaches as you die.
Boop, boop. And yeah, no, another theming and musical cues, because that started getting me anxious. Oh crap,
Yeah.
oh crap, oh crap, oh
Yeah.
crap. Same thing again, playing Banjo-Kazooie. I'm not even a huge fan of the game, but I was just recently playing it. But I was swimming around in the clanker thing, and there's the part where you've got to get the bubbles, and I was just like, I can't swim in 3D games. I'm never going to get these bubbles. I'm going to drown. No. And I drowned.
Yeah.
Or Mario 64 with your health, your breathing health slowly going down. Anything that has a drowning,
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And then when Mario drowns in 64,
So
he gets
Oh, yeah,
crosses
you were
on his
saying.
eyes, and he makes like this like gurgling noise that's like so disturbing.
Yeah. It's, disturbing is the word for it.
Yeah.
Miyamoto, why you do this? I guess we can talk about more horror things, not in horror games. I think, Kyle, you want to talk about Pokemon Red and Blue?
Well, before I do that, I like to mention character design or enemy design in Halo. The Flood, I think, are like
Oh yeah.
pretty scary compared to the Covenants and stuff. But that's just a quick thing.
Yeah, they just look crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Covenant are just your standard alien whatever, and then the Flood are like these squamous, disgusting,
Spongy looking dudes that like fuse together.
spongy looking rotten corpses that are swinging like broken edges of bones and flailing with tentacly things at you, and it's
their job is to basically hunt you down, just constantly chase you. So anyway, Pokemon Red and Blue. The scariest moment in that game for me, and I'm sure this is for a lot of other kids, but in Lavender Town, when you're in the Pokemon Tower and you have to see the ghost no matter what, because you have to use your Silph Scope at some time. But
the only way to progress.
before you use your Silph Scope, it's just like a plain old ghost. And I remember like when I first ran into that as a kid, I was like so frightened because I just didn't expect it. And especially in a game like Pokemon, like just like,
Oh yeah, let's be honest. All of Lavender Town is just creepy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
awful.
Yeah, the music.
Although as creepy as the music is, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
But that's
Absolutely.
classic.
I mean, Lavender Town inspired creepypastas and things. So
Galore.
yeah.
And
Should we touch on that quick? Creepypastas in gaming, like there's Ben Drowned and things like that, which is actually pretty good sometimes.
My problem with gaming creepypastas is they're constrained to gaming itself. And a good creepypasta is a creepypasta that makes me worried that those things are going to happen to me.
Well, I mean, that's fair.
I can't really get too creeped out over this guy that found a quote-unquote haunted Majora's Mask cartridge, because I have a Majora's Mask cartridge already, and it's not haunted, so I think I'm good.
That's fair enough. Let's move on from that.
And especially, it breaks my suspension of disbelief, essentially, when I look at it, and I'm like, this is essentially just a ROM hack that somebody's messing around with. Like, the videos, I'm like, whatever, I know how this was done. This isn't really doing anything for me, guys. Sorry, I'm ruining the fun. But
I think,
all realize it's just a ROM hack. That
some more moments from non-scary games. Like, if we stay on Zelda, there's not take mirror from Twilight Princess, and the trial things from Skyward Sword were quite tense, actually. And there's things like the Shadow Temple or Redeads, when you first turn into an adult and you go into that market square and everything's just apocalyptic.
They scream at you and latch onto you and do unsavory things to your face.
It's like, goddamn Nintendo.
Yeah, when did you grow up? Because I didn't yet, and this is awful.
Link grew up and his life turned to rubbish. Anyway, there's just some other things I want to mention as well. In Gears of War, there's these enemies called the Berserkers, and like when you first see a berserker, it's like, whoa, goddamn, and it's like blind, but it can smell you, like.
Well,
And
that's another example of sort of an implacable enemy, because when you first face the berserker, you're like,
you have to run.
I have to run. I cannot deal it. And they kind of ruin the berserkers later on because you start whacking them by the end of the series, like left and right.
That will always be a memorable moment for me.
But definitely a memorable moment for sure, because you have to like lure it into the pillars and stuff and try and sneak out. And definitely a tense sequence.
Gears of War also had like the mining facility in the first game, which is quite scary. It's all dark and creepy mansion mining facility thingy, glowy enemies, you know.
Yeah.
What else have we got here? Fallout 3 actually scared me a little bit as well, especially going into the overworld, and it's like, oh god, what's that weird enemy over there? And then I die.
Well, Fallout 3 is more of an atmospheric style.
Yeah,
than
but
it is
still,
anything
it can
else.
still induce terror.
Well,
Yeah.
death
Fear.
claws. Death claws can induce terror and fear.
It also helps that the enemies are just scary looking. So,
Yeah. And
other things I've got written down here. I've got a good one here. Has anyone played Game and Wario?
Nope.
no, I have not.
Okay, so there's this mini game in Game and Wario called Gamer, and you're basically playing as 9 Volt, I think his name is, and he's playing like his not Game Boy Advance in his bed. And we've all had them moments where we're playing games late at night and our parents are telling us to go to sleep. So this game is basically that, and on the gamepad you're playing like your classic micro games. But on the TV you have to keep watch of your gamepad and your TV, and you have to watch out for your mum on TV, and it's like so goddamn scary. There's like scary violins, and your mum just is demonic, and like goddamn, it's so scary.
Is that that one level on?
Yeah, it's in
Super...
Smash Wii U.
Okay, yeah.
Like even that stage can be scary.
Even
the
the stage is like, oh my goodness, what?
Yeah.
That thing is demonic and terrifying.
Oh, but I love it. It's a really good gameplay mechanic actually. I've got other things written down here like Minecraft. Minecraft can be quite a scary game, as I'm sure Deg will know. Right?
Oh boy, yeah, Deg knows about that. The thing with Minecraft scary is that, well, one, it does have the sort of jump scare thing because you can't hear a creeper and just, but what you'll be like, la 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 la, ooh boy, I found some gold. Then you hear tss, and you're like, well, I'm dead. Goodbye, world.
I mean, whenever you go into a
I'm
cave,
ready.
there's always a fear of creepers.
Yeah,
and
and then
other
there's
enemies.
always, when you go into caves, but as you play, it gets less scary.
Yeah.
Except, yeah, there's always that, like, will this be the time that I die? Can I make it back?
Yeah. That's how I feel about the Nether. Like, it's just a dangerous place and weird enemies. And...
It's not so much horror, but definitely, like, scary, tense, like,
yeah, that's what
have I overreached? Am I going to die?
And also, I think the ghast enemies have crazy screeches, which...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Those things are not fun.
But Minecraft and Enderman as well, those are pretty scary. Let's see.
They
what
do
else we've
make
got here.
awful noises.
Yes, or noises. That's another thing. Noises and sound design in games is quite important. If you just hear footsteps or just little tiny little things in the distance, like did I just hear something there?
So Amnesia, then we're talking about once more.
Yeah,
Because
You
the
can do.
sound design in that game is what sells that game.
It's
Playing
interesting
that
'cause you
game
have
in
to
the dark
listen.
with headphones, and like you hear the breathing, and then you can hear like there's a little scratching rattle in the background. There's footsteps over this way. Was that something breathing heavily over my shoulder? Like I freaked out.
Is there no music in that
No
game?
lie.
Can't
That game-
deal.
I really am considering doing a little like let's play type thing of that, just because one, I freak out, so that's probably going to be hilarious, and two, having other people around and watching me play it will probably get me to actually play it because I can't do it alone. I just can't.
Is there no
I feel
music
the
in that
same way.
game?
No, it's like all atmospheric sounds.
Nice.
It's like you can hear your character's heartbeat.
Yeah, that probably adds onto it a lot. I think some games definitely need music, but yeah, games like
It
Amnesia.
depends on the presentations that they're going for.
And
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing I have to say about that.
Okay, so let's move on to like other things. There's like games that have like Halloween themes, like Castlevania. That's like Halloween the game.
Yes.
Has
Yeah.
anyone played Castlevania?
I've
not-
played the first one, and I cannot beat the final boss. He is so incredibly hard. I've been like, all the other hard bosses, but just the final Dracula boss is impossible to beat. So I haven't beaten it yet.
Oh, okay.
Great game though.
I'm not sure which one. I played one of them, but I didn't get super far into it. Like Metroidvania style games don't particularly do it for me.
That's fair enough. I mean, I thought I'd just mention Castlevania because it's
But
Halloween.
no, that's
Yeah.
definitely like there are probably people listening to the podcast right now. They're like, "How can the three of you have not played so much Castlevania? I hate you. Get out."
I'm definitely intrigued by the series, but I don't know. I don't really see it in stores that much, or like there's just so many other games that I'm busy with.
And
yeah.
part of the problem is having grown older. I have slightly less time for gaming.
Yeah.
So I have to be slightly more discerning and go for easily digestible things, which a lot of the older Castlevanias require slightly longer investments of time.
You have to be
enough.
very patient
I
with those
just wanted
games
to
because they're
mention-
very hard.
Plus the whole constant backtracking, etc. Not.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean
Let's
that's
move on.
But
Yeah.
I just want to quickly run through some games. Mortal Kombat sort of has a sort of not scary, but it's like
It's
kind
got,
of has like
it's
a
got that jump
Halloweenish.
scare.
feel
yeah. I mean, like you fight in hell, and there's demonic designs of enemies and characters in that game. And Mortal Kombat 9 has a crypt jump scare as well, and that happened to
So
me once,
does-
and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, so does Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
X.
what the
It has a jump scare in the crypt.
Oh, does it as well? Okay.
I think they have it in both of them.
And also, it's very violent, which can be quite spooky, or not spooky, but sort of grotesque, frightening.
What was that, Chris?
Like the gore can be quite off-putting, which is quite scary in itself.
Yeah, gore porn style horror genres like Saw and Hostel and all that kind of stuff, and Mortal Kombat again doesn't really do it for me. It's like that's not scary. That's just sort of like gross, and I don't want to see it.
There's actually
enough.
one funny thing I want to mention about Mortal Kombat. Was a glitch that I ran into in Mortal Kombat 2. And I think it was actually my brother playing it because I was still a kid. But, I actually played Mortal Kombat games as a kid. But, yeah, anyway.
So did everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually one of my first games. So, anyway, my brother was playing as Reptile, and he was facing Johnny Cage, and he did his fatality to him. But it usually says finish him, but it said finish her, which was obviously a glitch because he was facing Johnny Cage, who was a guy. And then when he performed his fatality, Johnny Cage screamed like a girl. And it was just so weird. It's like one of those things that it was just like, what, like, why did that just happen?
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary because like it's just so weird. And I don't know, that glitch was always one of my favorites.
One of them weird things that happens.
Yeah.
I think the last one I'll mention I have written down here is the Walking Dead Telltale series.
Oh
Anyone
my
played
goodness, I love.
I've
that? I've only played series
seen
1.
a little bit of it.
I've only played season 1. I have season 2. I just haven't sat down and played it.
I've completed season 1, and like there are obviously tense, scary-ish moments in that game, like when you have to make a decision. Or
I don't particularly categorize it necessarily as scary, because the game does give you like time to absorb,
Yeah.
and for the most part you have time to absorb and make the decisions, except for those like important decisions where it's like crap,
Yeah, basically.
and it's more just super tense and dramatic, and like everything you do has a meaning and an impact on the future.
I mean, that tense stuff sort of crosses the border, or
Yeah,
bounces along the border of scary.
It plays with the line of scary. But
Yeah.
even with the Walking Dead TV series, I don't necessarily categorize it as straight up scary horror. I mean,
There's a bit
zombies
of horror in there.
zombies in general, to me, the horror, it's a different kind of horror, if you will.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's usually, it's not about the monster. It's not about, I mean, yes, they are implacable beasts that are coming for you and you can't stop them. But the zombie genre in general has always been about human relations and human relationships and how do the survivors communicate. Like, the bad guy is never actually the zombie in any zombie genre, like movie or game. It's always some other survivor that is actual bad guy.
Yeah.
I think zombie games, I'm thinking of let me see, like Left 4 Dead or Call of Duty Zombies or something.
Which those
your friends could be your enemies.
Those are kind of crap.
Yeah.
Because again, they're not really horror. They're just sort of action games. Because blah 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 blah, kill the zombies. They're coming for you. Poo poo. Everything's fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically. But
you want a good zombie game. Ironically, DayZ is superb, and I say ironically because the zombies barely even factor into DayZ at all.
I've never heard of that game.
Like, they're barely implemented. They're not implemented well. They're essentially super easy to take out. The only time that they're any threat at all is when you're first starting out and literally have not a single item. What's fun about DayZ are any interactions with other players, because again, zombie genre is always about the interaction between the survivors. Is this person that I see on that hill over there a raider who's going to shoot me on sight? Is he a new player who's going to try and kill me and take my stuff because he has nothing to lose? Is he a player that is just as terrified of me as I am of him? What will the communication like?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and DayZ captures that zombie genre survivor interaction perfectly.
I have a zombie game that I like, Zombie U for the Wii U, although recently got ported to Xbox One and PS4, just
PC.
as Zombie, and PC, yeah. But anyway, I played it on Wii U, and I think it's a really good game. Actually, it builds tension well. You have to manage. Management is quite a good concept to have in horror games because
that's a classic survival horror trope.
Yeah, you have to manage your bag, look at your gamepad, look at the TV. Are there any zombies? It just has a good atmosphere, that game, in my opinion.
I didn't like it.
I liked it myself, but it's one of them games, sort of.
I bought my Wii U with the Zombie U pack.
Okay, yeah.
And played a few, maybe 10 hours of it, and then went and bought Arkham City.
Well, I mean, I liked it, so whatever. We're kind of coming close to the end of the podcast here. Is there anything else we need to mention?
I would like to mention a few things. First, Dead Rising.
Okay.
I thought was a really fun game. It's not really my favorite type of zombies or my favorite zombie game, but I just like exploring the mall and stuff, and it's more fun than scary, but I like that game. It's fun. Two other moments that weren't supposed to be scary, but did scare the pants off me. As a kid, playing Super Mario Brothers 3, when Mario dies, he makes this. There's a sprite animation where he's got his hand sticking up and his feet pointing forward, and his face is that's the only time where his face is looking directly at you, and his mustache looks like a big smile or grin. At least that's what I thought as a kid.
Yeah. So
that's another thing that was really weird, and I just didn't really fully understand as a kid, and so I was scared of that. Another one, because I have to mention it because it's the greatest franchise of all time, but Metal Gear Solid 2. I
played that one.
Did you finish it?
I did finish it,
Okay, so I won't spoil this for you. Near the end...
I thought he said he did finish.
No, I did finish.
Okay. Near the end, when you're in Arsenal Gear, and the colonel's talking to you, and it's he's talking about scissors and 61s. You know, it's really
Yeah.
creepy what happens over the codec. But the scariest part of that area for me is when I think it's before you meet up with Solid Snake, and on your radar, this video of this Asian girl shows up, and it's just this girl sitting in like her apartment, and you know, it's just like this cute Asian girl that is like looking at a camera, and she doesn't really do anything specific. I think she just like smiles and like sits down, and it's just like a Kojima thing that
Yeah,
of course.
I don't remember that.
I,
Well, how about Psychomantis?
Psychomantis. Yeah, that was really cool because he plays with like your memory card and tells you what you played and like moves your controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid was one of those games as a kid that I thought like, wow, games are like movies now, and like I remember thinking that my brother was just playing a movie. That's also what I felt about Resident Evil. But
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, cinematic stuff can make things scary
yeah,
sometimes.
and
Yeah.
Depends,
I think that's why
really.
Metal Gear Solid, as a whole series, has a few creepy parts. But mostly that Asian girl, I don't know why, but I hated looking at it because I felt like something was gonna pop out. Because Asian girls are just they're used in like horror movies a lot. I feel like,
Ringu.
or at least girls with black hair, like The Ring.
Well, that's like Fatal Frame.
Yeah, Fatal Frame.
Or whatever it's called. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, we could talk about LPs. Like, there's a lot of LPs on the YouTubes about people playing horror games and being all like, "Oh my god, it's so scary!"
Well,
And-
it's so much easier to watch someone else play a
Oh
horror
yeah,
game than to
that's
sit
another
down and
thing.
do it yourself.
That is true.
because when
yeah.
you're in control of the character, it's you that's in control.
It's way more immediate. It feels like you're the one that's about
Yep.
to die.
Yeah.
Well, and especially for us hardcore gamers, because we kind of do put ourselves into the character's skin, if you will. I can't be the only
Yes.
one that does that, right?
No, it's true.
Oh, good. I'm not crazy.
Well, you are crazy, but we're
But
also
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, shush.
well, yeah. But I think that kind of covers. I think we've done a good job there. I think we had a bit of a hiccup, but yeah. Any last words, guys? Because I'm gonna kill you all.
It's almost Halloween.
No, but
and
seriously, anything? Any last?
I'm excited.
Any last things?
Oh, I'm excited for the Halloween season. Gonna watch some horror movies and play maybe a little bit of Resident Evil because I'm in the mood for it.
I'm playing Resident Evil 4, so
Ah,
look forward to that 5 hours in. Plug.
I so want to play that game again.
Yeah.
But I don't have a PS2 console. Yeah, I should buy it on PS3. Anyway,
I'm playing it on Wii myself.
I've played that
Oh.
version and yeah, it's good. Every
Well,
version.
we all know you hate the Wii.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we should wrap it up here because we're all bad at wrapping up, and so yeah. I have been Chris. That has been Deg. That has been Kyle. Enjoy Halloween and all them scary things, and bye.
See ya.
Yeah. Cthulhu.
What?
What?
What? What?
What? What?
Okay,
I'm gonna
show's
end
over.
that there.
I have been Deg. This has been Chris. That's Kyle.
I'm Kyle. That was
Goodbye.
Chris. That was Dag. Bye.
Oh my god.